Welcome to the Stay Paid podcast, where we help agents and entrepreneurs master the latest business trends to unlock growth and create a life of freedom. Brought to you by Reminder Media.
Welcome to Stay Paid. My name is Joshua Stike.
And I'm Luke Acree.
And before we bring on our panel today, we'd love it if you take a minute to subscribe to Stay Paid on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. If you're not already subscribed, subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. And while you're there, drop us a review. We would love to read it here on the show. Joining us today, as always, is Stephen Acree and Cody Smith of the Acree Brothers Realty Team, the #1 team in Lynchburg, Virginia.
What's up?
Gentlemen. And also joining us, a return guest, Stacy Allwein. She's the referral and relationship queen and the leader of a top team in DC metro area, having produced, and I'm sure this number is higher by now, but over $60 million in sales, with the majority of those deals coming from repeat and referral business. Stacy, welcome back to Stay Paid.
Oh, I'm so glad to be here. Thank you.
Man, I'm excited for this convo. We're going to talk about something that I think a lot of agents are not taking advantage of very much, which is how do you endear yourself, as I call it, to the community? How do you give back and be a business of purpose, not just profit? Because I think it's an incredible marketing strategy, let alone an incredible thing to do with your life and create impact. Before we do that, Stacy, can you give us kind of an update on how the year's been for you with the chaoticness of the election and AI and the commission lawsuit and low inventory and interest rates high and, you know, all this stuff that people say is doom and gloom? How has it been for you this year?
Well, you're making me really depressed.
Yeah.
I was going to say.
I have that effect on people.
What else can you add to that? Our team, we have just tried to stay the course and stay, we do all of our business by referral. We have, we're kind of the Buffini agents, and we do our calls and our notes and our Popeyes. And, we've added a lot of like social media, just different activities to our plate. And it's definitely keeping us where we need to be. Of course, it's been a hard year. I feel like this year has different aspects of quote hard than last year. But as a team, we're doing better as far as, closed transactions and transactions in the pipeline. And
how big is the team, by the way?
Okay, so our team, we have a small team.
Okay.
It's myself, my son, and 2 other agents. And then we have a full-time team manager. Transaction kind of does everything.
Gotcha. So, what is your volume goal or transaction goal for the year? What are you guys trying to get to?
So, we're coming off of, the great 2022 where we did 57 million, and it was really just 2 of us. Last year we were like 25 million. Okay. And, huge change. But I didn't work a lot of the last year because my husband had passed away.
Right.
So that was, definitely impacted it, and hoping that we can, end this year around 30 million.
Okay. Awesome. So,
and our average sales price is like 540.
Okay.
So
that gives you an idea.
Kind of where we are.
Awesome. So it's a great business. So let's dive in right into this topic. My question for you is, you have generated a lot of business from getting involved in the community, or at least become recognizable. Can you talk a little bit about what giving back to the community has done for your business, why you're passionate about it?
Sure. So I have always, for whatever reason, just been very passionate about giving back. Before I was Real Broker. Before that, I was with Century 21, and I was their giving back ambassador. And it's just something that's always really important to me. I tell people if I could just volunteer and do that all the time, and it brought me the same kind of financial reward, I would be happy doing that. I mean, I love real estate, so I found a way, and I'm grateful for our real estate business that, by being successful in the industry, I think it's so important to give back. I think it's so important to take care of your community, take care of the people around you. And over the years, I've just found different things that are very rewarding for me. And by doing that, the business just automatically comes to you.
That's good.
So I am the vice president of the Phoenix Foundation, which is a recovery high school in Frederick, Maryland. And it's the only recovery high school in Maryland. And basically this is for students that either are coming out of like some type of clinical rehab or just have an alcohol or drug problem that they've gotten under control. But instead of like putting them back in the same environment, like, if you or I went to rehab Luke and they'd say, okay, Stacy, don't go hang out with Luke at the bar or that type of thing. But we put our kids back in the same environment. So the same peers, and it's proven that it doesn't work. And so I found this to be very interesting to me. My brother died of a drug overdose at 38 in 2006. Thank you. And I needed something to focus on and to give back. And a couple years ago, I found out about this organization, and it's just been a game changer for me because I feel like I fit in so well with my skill set and what I can do to help both the kids, the fundraising. I chair their gala every year and their auction, and just raising money to just help keep this going.
Do you do anything from like the business aspect of getting involved with charity? Do you do anything to leverage that in your marketing and in what you present as a real estate agent? Or is it something that just you do and the natural effect of that is the relationships that come?
Well, I think that it's both. So when I go on a listing presentation, part of my listing presentation talks about giving back to the community and how our team is very active in giving back. And it's not just to the Phoenix Foundation. It's really like whoever needs us. And sometimes that can be like to a fault because I feel like everything I see on Facebook or everything I see somewhere, I'm like, oh, I need to help those people. I need to help those people. But I've learned that, we need to like focus and we have, a certain amount, a certain budget that we can do, and aside from like personally giving back. And I'll give you an example. It's just close to my heart and so important. Last Friday, Phoenix Foundation had a golf tournament, typical of nonprofits. And I have 3 granddaughters, but my 9-year-old and 10-year-old granddaughter, they've learned so much about doing coat drives and diaper drives and different things to like give back. They know how important it is. They know how important Toys for Tots is. So I decided that I was going to invite them to come to the golf tournament. I wasn't sure. They're young, but they're pretty mature, young 8, 9, and 10-year-olds. So they were amazing. We sold more 50-50 tickets, which was probably not legal for a 10-year-old to be selling 50-50 tickets, but we sold more than we've ever sold. And then my 9-year-old, Amira, she was like doing the putting contest, and she would measure, and it was $5 for a putt. And she'd had people doing 6, 7, 8 putts just to see if they could get that hole in one. And just teaching them that this is what we do, and this is what we do as a family. This is what is important. They learned so much, and that gave me so much joy. That they learned about giving back.
Yeah, it's the perspective.
Stacey, you can just feel your energy, and like I'm telling you, you guys can't see her obviously, and you can hear her, but I just feel the energy coming from you. That's incredible.
I love it. And so with that, I mean, I know that just in the last 3 years, I've sold probably 7 or had 7 transactions as a result of just the Phoenix School.
Wow.
And it is not like, I don't even give my spiel. Like, it's just people are like, oh, Stacy's the best realtor. And I'm not saying that. This is what people are saying, when I'm introduced at different functions and that kind of thing. And that's just, so it comes like secondary. But I think I missed part of your point when did I talk about listing presentations? Sorry.
Yeah, no, you did. You shared it in there as part of your listing presentation. I'm assuming you talk about, do you give a certain percentage of your commission, or how do you factor that?
I don't, but that's something that's definitely, it's on my agenda to figure out how I want to do that. So I would like to set up like for every transaction, I get X amount of dollars to a charity. And maybe it's, I have the Be Like Bob Foundation, which is a nonprofit I formed, me and my kids formed after my husband passed away. Whether it's, do we give to that? Do we give to Phoenix? Do we leave it up to the clients? How can we make that something that's more visible?
there's so many things that stand out to me as like golden nuggets. One is one of the foundational things that I think, to make a great entrepreneur. And I was thinking about this yesterday. I got a call. I had shared this on a Monday mindset training that I did for insurance agents. Is I got a call. Well, it was really a voice memo in the morning from a client of ours that basically said we messed up their account. And, they're doing 1,600 postcards with us or whatever. And we had missed 2 mailings or something like that. And so that oftentimes, I don't know about you guys, you ever wake up and you're immediately inundated with punches in the face? It's like being a business owner or trying to grow a business is basically how many punches in the face can you take and keep going every day.
Every day, yeah.
So I get that. And I'm actually grateful for Will Penny, who we've had on the show here. He's awesome. But I'm grateful. I told him it's amazing. Feedback's a gift. But then I come into an email that's, just an accusation email that's not true, right? And it's just punch in the gut after punch in the gut. And that's just, sometimes it's great and sometimes you're down in business. So that was my yesterday. And one of the things I shared, which ties into this whole thing about charity, which ties into your values, is you must be a values-based business person. You must be a values-based entrepreneur. And one of the advantages of picking that charity that you're passionate about or picking that thing that your mission, your cause is about, is that when you face that punch in the gut, you have something bigger than yourself that you're working for, that you're making an impact on the world that can keep you going. Because if you're not a values-based entrepreneur and you're a transaction-based entrepreneur, a profit-based entrepreneur, the problem is eventually the punches in the face is you just won't want to take them because the profit's not worth it. Because once you have a little bit of money in your account, you have no idea how much that comfort paralyzes you. And so once you have a little bit of success, so I think one aspect of having that charity that not only ties you to community that you can market with, is it should come back to what are the values that you want to represent, the impact that you want to create on the world that you are passionate about. Because when you go from, what'd you say, 57 million to 25 million, like when you take that hit in business, you have to have something bigger. I mean, obviously you want to eat and pay your bills, but you have to have something bigger that you want to push towards to get you going. Yep. And I think that's a great takeaway for people, is to sit down and go, what are my values? And how do I pick a charity that aligns with those values to move things forward? And you had mentioned kids getting the perspective of being involved with the charity. And there was a study done where they followed kids around for 70 years. There was a famous a study that's done by, I can't remember if it was Yale or Harvard, but they followed around these people for 70 years. And the only correlation of success in kids that were successful and didn't end up in depression and didn't end up in drugs and all that stuff, well, the only correlation they could find was the kids that worked growing up, that actually had to work. And whether it was chores or doing a business. And I think to myself, one of the main impacts in my life, I grew up a preacher's kid, was the mission trips that we had to do and serving at the church and in the, like we cleaned the church and the church building and then going out and in the community. And I just think of that as such a powerful, anybody listening to this with kids, it's like, man, if you can get your kids involved with the charity that you're doing, it's even that much more powerful because you're impacting the next generation. So those are just two things that I go, man, what massive takeaways for people. Stephen, I know you guys do charity.
Like it goes back to the smaller level too. It's like the people that don't understand the value proposition that they're offering to even sell homes or help a buyer get into a home. If you do not have purpose behind it, you will immediately get to the point which you just said, Luke, which you're just going to wake up one day and you're going to have a lot on your plate. Right? There's going to be a lot of painful things that happen because this business is just all over the place with emotions. If you don't have purpose behind it, if you don't understand your value proposition on the smaller level, and then that relates to the value proposition of giving back, right, which is what we're talking about, then you just won't be successful. It's too hard if you can't go back to your values. And so I completely agree.
Yeah, your values and your goals.
Yeah.
Can you guys talk?
I think like with our, go ahead. With our crazy world, all the different things that are going on that make our world so divisive and so much, anger and hate. I just think that it's so important to find, like you said, like what your values are and make sure you understand them and make sure you're clear about them. And I think if you stay focused on that, then hopefully you can steer away from some of the negativity that we all experience and the negativity about, the lawsuit that's coming up and all the different things. Of course, we have to understand that. We have to be able to explain that. But we also have to keep our own mental sanity going. And, I think if you're grounded enough and you know what's important to you, then it helps all of those things.
Yep, agree. I often teach people when it comes to content, right? Because if you think about marketing in general, you have a list of people that you're trying to get that list to know you, like you, and trust you. And tactically, how do you get people to know, like, and trust you is through staying in touch with them through different mediums of distribution, whether it's social, print, face-to-face, voice-to-voice type idea. And I teach people the concept of the 3 E's of content: education, entertainment, and endearment. And I think everybody naturally gets education, which is promoting stuff around your business, renovation tips, market updates, stuff like that. Most people get entertainment. They might do a recipe, showcase local events. Very few get endearment as a campaign from a marketing standpoint. Now, I know, Stephen, we do a whole campaign with the food bank there in Lynchburg, Virginia. Can you walk people through that thing that you guys do in your community?
Yeah, so we've partnered with, and we've known the lady that runs the Agape Center for a while. And so for the last 3 years now, we've been just providing food to the homeless and the needy. And that's been great because it's really, it comes back to authenticity and purpose, obviously, right? But it gets you out there to show, what you really care about, right? That you actually care about the community that's not related to a sell, right? And so it's just a relationship based tactic that's based on authenticity, right, of giving back to the community. And we've seen a lot of great success from that. We basically send out postcards to the community and say they can drop it off, food at our office and, canned goods and stuff. And then we'll go door knocking through certain communities as well and send out emails to our sphere and so on and so forth. But that's been a great way to connect with our community, and ultimately we've gotten business from it.
And then when you guys had, I know the last time we ran this, I forget if it was November or October timeframe. You guys had people dropping by your office with canned goods, and what were they telling you when they're dropping off the canned goods? They're telling you, "We love what you're doing in the community." And there's this effect in psychology for people to understand that are listening to this called the halo effect. Which we all kind of understand in just nature. Like when you hear that someone goes to church, you naturally assume stuff about them. When you see that someone is helping the homeless, you naturally assume stuff about them, and you associate that good with everything else they do in business, whether it's true or not true. I mean, there's a lot of people that do good, associate with stuff that are good, that are not good. But the point being is that the halo effect transcends, and I often give the analogy when I talk to people, or the example, I shouldn't say analogy, the example of watch the Fortune 50, Fortune 500 companies. They all have a charity they support. These CEOs are beholden to the stockholders. They're trying to get the stock price to go up, but yet they take marketing dollars and spend it on supporting a charity. And yes, do I believe that they actually want to support that charity? I do. I think there's a good heart there. But these people they're not dumb. These marketers are not dumb. They know the way to move people is through emotion, not logic. And they know that businesses, if you look at where consumers want to do business, they want to do business with businesses of purpose. And most of the time, everything we do in marketing is a business of profit. It's a business of transaction. And this transcends that to give people the ability to showcase this is what I stand for. So if you think about what's practical, food bank, this, recovery house thing that you're talking about, SPCA, if you're really a fan of animals and you have pets, the Boys and Girls Club, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, the church, could be the PTA, the Little League teams. Like there's so many. I think you do work with Little League teams, don't you, Stacy?
I do. So I'm thinking of all these things as you're talking, and it makes me really proud of my team. So we are very well known in our town for. We have kind of adopted an elementary school that's right here that my kids went to. Now my grandkids go to it. We provide, they need water bottles. We have, Allwein team water bottles, whatever they need, we bring. We sponsor their 5K. I sponsor at least one baseball team, Little League baseball team and football team every season. And that's it gets your name out there. It's all about name recognition. I couldn't say from, sponsoring the baseball team that I've gotten, 5 transactions or, contacts or referrals. But I can tell you that wherever we go in the community, people are like, oh, you're Stacy Allwein. Oh, you work for the Allwein team. They all know us, and they know us for positive things. And, I was thinking while you guys were speaking about, we did blessing bags back in the wintertime. And again, I grabbed my grandkids into that because I enjoy spending so much time with them. And they were just amazing. The community helped so much because we put it out there on social media. We were doing this. I mean, my office, like every time I showed up at my office, there were like boxes of things to put in the blessing bags. And just yesterday, one of my granddaughters, we saw like a homeless person just sitting on the side of the road, and she's like, do we have a blessing bag? And like, we don't have any, but we need to do that again. And they put so much thought into, next time we should put this in there, or we should add, this in there because it would be so good for them. And you know what, all of that like gets like you said, our community involved. They see what we're doing. People are always like, wow, you do so much. I feel like I could do so much more. But I just think we have that reputation for being the people that somebody can call on.
Yeah, it's so good. Everybody should know the stat. 81% of sellers choose the first business that they think of in real estate. So the first first agent they interview for selling their home, 81% of consumers will go with that agent. So if your name brand recognition is highest, then you have an 81% chance to earn that business if they think of you first. And then, as we wrap up, I feel like, there's a great Rick Warren quote out there. If you look at I think it's the number 2 best-selling book. It's his book, The Purpose-Driven Life. And he says, if you think about it, it's like we're all searching for meaning and purpose. And ultimately what drives people and gets people up in the morning is their purpose. If you want a life of significance, it comes to a life of service. And I love that quote when he says that, because whenever you feel insignificant, whenever you feel down and out, whenever you feel like you're not contributing, you have to ask yourself, well, where am I serving? And that even comes down to tactically how you lead a team. I often think when we've grown our team here at Reminder Media, when the teams have low morale, when things aren't moving, like what energized you guys as team, Stephen, when you guys were not hitting the sales numbers? You got back in. You got back in and sold. And in essence, think about what you were doing. You were getting back in and serving. Like you were getting back in and doing the work. That servant leadership is about doing the work right alongside the people. That's what servant leadership is. And so if you want a life of significance, it comes to a life of service. So you should be asking yourself, man, what an incredible way to make your business something mean more than just paying your bills. The impact you make to the community spreads your brand. And at the end of the day, you'll be more fulfilled if you have the endearing campaigns in your business. So I love it. Any closing thoughts from anybody?
One of mine is just the symbiotic relationship between the profit, right, and giving back. So if you're worried about being authentic, the more you position yourself to make more profit, the more you're going to be able to give back and make an impact. And so they're so related, right? And so it's like, it is such a good thing to send out postcards to the community to give to the Agape Center. It gives our brand recognition, right? It gives us a relationship with the community. And in the end, it makes us more profit. And what do we do with that profit? We give back. And so, just in closing, it's such a symbiotic relationship there.
Yeah, agree. Awesome. Yeah, don't be afraid of making money, because the more money you make, the more people you can help. We almost forgot.
That's what gives us a purpose.
Yeah. We almost forgot the sales strategy of the week. Oh. We can't forget the sales.
I was going to ask you if you had.
Yeah. We can't forget the sales strategy of the week. My gosh. Okay, so we're talking about promoting businesses. And my sales strategy for you, right, is you just heard an incredible campaign that Stephen talked about of partnering with a local business, getting a mailer out there for that local business. I want you to partner up with a charity, and you don't have to go all out and doing a mailer or anything like that. It can be very, very simple. You can promote them on social, and you can send an email to your sphere. Both of those things won't cost you any money. They'll just cost you a little bit of time. The only thing you need to do is find the charity that you support and put together some post or some email that supports and raises awareness for that charity this week, and tag the charity in it. If you want to go the extra mile, apply one of our old sales strategies of the week where you go live with them. You go live, then you bring them on the live, right? So they can share about their charity to your audience. It's a great way to build connections, great way to tap into that halo effect. So that is the sales strategy of the week.
Love it. Stacy, thank you so much for coming on the podcast again and sharing your story this past year. Before we close out, let people know how they can connect with you.
So you can reach me, Stacy Allwein. My Instagram is at Allwein Realtor, Allwein Realtor, or on Facebook, Stacy Allwein, or the Allwein Team at Real. My phone number is 301-606-6716.
Awesome. Steve and Cody, thank you guys as always.
Thank you.
And thank you all for listening.
Everybody.
You can dive deeper into the show notes, or into this episode with the show notes, as well as heading over to staypaidpodcast.com. You can get all of the resources of how to subscribe and get all of our videos there as well. If you enjoyed this episode and want to show your support, go to Apple Podcasts or Spotify, drop us a 5-star review along with a comment. And the best way to support the show is to simply share this episode with someone that you know. If you want to get hold of me or Luke, you can email us at podcast@remindermedia.com. And of course, you can message us and follow us on Instagram as well. We are at Stay Paid Podcast. For this episode of Stay Paid, I'm Joshua Stike.
Guys, I'm Luke Acree. Go check out the YouTube video in honor of just golf events for charity, which happen all the time. Josh wore a golf shirt today. So go check it out.
I ran out of Reminder Media swag. I need to do laundry.
Yeah, you guys can't appreciate it as much in the video, but it's a nice Adidas golf shirt, man. It looks great. Here's the thing. You know the difference between top producers and mediocre producers. So that action item I gave you of finding the charity support, that's your action item this week. Remember the difference between top producers and mediocre producers in every industry is top producers take action. So don't just sit here and listen. Go be a doer. Take action on that today.